Welcome to NR Dialogue. NR Dialogue is a virtual program that provides the unique opportunity to closely understand the natural rubber industry in different countries and get insights on the emerging challenges and opportunities. The specific objectives are to extract information about the status of NR industry in each country, understand its future potential, identify the challenges ahead, and the opportunities for investments and partnerships. It's an hour-long chat with a prominent NR industry leader or a key researcher in each country. There is only one episode in a month. We had the first episode of NR Dialogue at the end of January, 1 month ago, by spotlighting the natural rubber industry in Myanmar. We had an insightful chat with Dr. Yusen. Today, we are here for the second episode of NR Dialogue, in which we are spotlighting the NR industry of Vietnam. Vietnam is a bright spot in the global panorama of NR industry. Vietnam's NR industry is a glittering success story in many respects. Vietnam's unparalleled success story is visible in the expansion of the area under rubber cultivation in the country over the past 2 decades. It is also visible in the exponential growth in NR production over the past 2 decades. The success story is still more visible in the improvement of average yield per hectare. Currently, Vietnam is a country having the highest yield per hectare. Vietnam's success story is also evidenced in development and commercialization of improved clones and smart clones of Hevia and in management of plant diseases. Even more, Vietnam is a forerunner among all NR producing countries in framing the guidelines for production, processing, and trading of sustainable natural rubber, SNR, and introducing a national level SNR and forestry certification system. Let us have a quick look into the Vietnam NR industry through a short video. This 3-minute video will help us to get a feel of the country's NR industry, a success story, and the importance of given to agroforestry and environments. Over to the video. realized that 3 organizations or institutions have been pivotal to the dynamic growth achieved by the Vietnam's NR industry. They are Vietnam Rubber Group, Vietnam Rubber Association, and the Rubber Research Institute of Vietnam, RRIV. We are fortunate to have a highly resourceful guest from Vietnam to share her in-depth knowledge based on her 4 decades of experience in the Vietnam's NR industry. She served the Rubber Research Institute of Vietnam, RRIV, as plant breeder during 1979-85, head of rubber breeding division during 85-95, deputy director of RRIV during 95-2004. She, along with her team at RRIV, immensely contributed to improve considerably the productivity of rubber trees in Vietnam. She served the Vietnam Rubber Association, VRA, as the first Secretary General during 2004-2012. After her retirement from there, she worked as office manager at VRA during 2012-2015 and VRA's head of advisory committee for rubber industry development during 2016-2018. She is one of the invited members of the steering committee for sustainable development of rubber industry and Vietnam Rubber Group to implement the program of sustainable development during 2019-2024 in cooperation with the several national and international organizations. With immense pleasure, let me introduce our guest of today, Dr. Tran Thi Thuy Hoa, popularly known as Dr. Hoa. Let us now welcome Dr. Hoa to join us.
Hi everyone, welcome to the NR dialogue with the topic on Vietnam natural rubber industry. Thanks Mr. Jacob for your introduction.
Dr. Hoa, you are most welcome to NR dialogue. We are extremely happy to have you here with us as our guest to share your vast knowledge and experience in the Vietnam's NR industry. We have participants from different countries, from different parts of the world, at different time zone, keenly interested to know more about Vietnam. So let me ask some questions, start some basic questions, some informal questions to start with. Let me request you, madam, to share with us your education and how you entered the rubber sector and which are the organizations you have served, various positions held in different organizations, and your present role in the Vietnam rubber industry. We are happy to know your overseas exposure, for example, number of countries visited. So, madam, could you please give some information about the background?
Thank you for your suggestion. First, I would like to share that I love rubber trees when I was a child during the visit rubber plantation in my city. Then agroforestry university was my preference. I had a luck to be selected by the Rubber Research Institute of Vietnam, RRIV. At the beginning of my duty in the institute, I was aware that latex and timber productivity of rubber trees need to be improved urgently. I had more than 25 years with our team to participate in the EVR rubber breeding to create and select high-yielding clones for latex and timber, also adapted to non-traditional region and climate change. This topic gave me great opportunity to implement my thesis and our papers. When I moved to the Vietnam Rubber Association VIA, I recognized that our members need market information, trade promotion, policy advocacy, brand building. So our team has focused these activities to assist our members in their business. I was invited by the Vietnam Rubber Group VRG to participate in the Sustainable Development Program. We cooperate with NGOs, non-governmental organizations, to promote our program and publish some guidelines in social responsibility and sustainable production. We try to list the VRG members in implementing the national and international sustainable forest management certificates. Let me show you the list of VRG members receiving VFCS and BFC certificates last year. So in the red line, you can see last year our member had certificates for about 70,000 hectares of rubber plantation and 22 NR processing factories. This year, we plan to get certificates for 130,000 hectares and 36 factories. In the next steps, we will continue to improve the gene of rubber plantations and product diversification. We also would like to get more certificates for our rubber plantation and factories. We will try to have a group certificates, including smallholders, to meet the megatrend of the global market and society. During my duties at the Rubber Research Institute of Vietnam, Vietnam Rubber Association, and Vietnam Rubber Group, me and our colleagues, we had opportunities to visit more than 20 countries, which are the NR consuming countries and NR producing countries. Through this visit, we learn valuable experience from other countries, which help me and our colleagues to apply advances in research and practices. Recently, during COVID-19 outbreak and social distancing policies, I had opportunities to attend about 50 international webinars from more than 10 countries, where I found many new knowledge and experience that can be applied to promote our sustainable development for NR industry, such as the topic on climate action, low carbon farming, agroforestry, circular economy, agroecology, forest restoration, biodiversity, responsible investment in agriculture, etc. So that's I hope that's adapt your suggestion. Thank you. Sorry, I cannot hear you.
Okay, Madam, can I? Did you finish? Okay, it's very impressive. It's quite impressive to know about your long journey in the natural rubber industry in the country and your service, your experience with the three important organizations in the country, and also to know about your most recent involvements in the development of the guidelines for the sustainable natural rubber industry. It's very impressive. So based on, let me ask some question about the geographical map of Vietnam. So the geographical map of Vietnam looks somewhat like an English alphabet S. So which part of S is the traditional rubber growing region of the country? Let me ask. And also, could you please enlighten the audience on the geographical distribution of rubber area, as well as geographical distribution of production of natural rubber in the country as of now? So I'm asking, which part of Vietnam is the most important non-traditional rubber growing region? And also, audience may be interested to know a comparison between traditional region. So what are the agroclimatic and other constraints for the healthy growth of rubber trees in the non-traditional region compared to a traditional region? So in terms of average annual yield per hectare, how low is the yield in the non-traditional region compared to the traditional region? That is another important thing. So audience may be interested to know what are the government's policies on the expansion of rubber cultivation in non-traditional region. Again, are suitable lands still available in the country for further expansion of rubber cultivation in non-traditional region or in traditional region? So what is the government policy on further expansion of rubber cultivation in traditional region and non-traditional region? Could you please explain these points, madam?
To answer this question, let me show you the map of rubber growing region in Vietnam first. On the map, you can see the southeast of Vietnam is a traditional region for rubber trees, with the area sharing about 60% of the total rubber area. The most important non-traditional region is the Central Highlands, with the area sharing about 25%. Other non-traditional regions are the Central Coast and Northern region, less than 20% in area. The constraints for rubber development in non-traditional regions are the severe leaf disease, long dry season, low temperature, strong wind, lasting rain, poor soil. So the yield of rubber trees in non-traditional region is lower than that of traditional region. This accounts for about 60% to 85% compared with the yield of rubber trees in traditional region. It is currently from 1 ton to 1.5 ton per hectare per year. But we believe soon with new clones, this non-traditional region can get the yield from 1.5 to 1.7 tons per hectare per year. About the policies of our government on the rubber development are to reduce the area down to 800,000 hectare or 900,000 hectare. So that means we should try to meet the market demand by improving the yield of the rubber trees to increase the production of natural rubber and rubber wood. So that currently it is difficult to have official permission to expand new rubber plantation in both traditional and non-traditional regions by 2030. So I hope this answer apply to your question. So I finished.
Okay. So, madam, that's your the chart, this diagram, and also the table showing the difference between traditional region and non-traditional region in terms of average yields is actually quite interesting. So we can notice that in the one of the that in the top part, the yield is only 50%, maybe less than 50% compared to the lowest part, which is a traditional region. Quite interesting graph, interesting chart. So again, for going further into the Vietnam's NR industry, let me ask about the significance of plantation companies. I mean, private companies or government-owned companies in Vietnam's NR production. How important are these companies? So what percentage of the country's total NR productions comes from estates? Is this percentage going up or going down over the recent years? Could you please explain this? Thank you.
To explain that I must let me show you the charts on the trend of rubber planting area by sector. So in the chart, you can see estates with large rubber plantation have been continuously expanded until 2016, but with low growth rate, and their area decreased since 2016 until now. Besides of that, smallholding rubber plantation in Vietnam has been developed later than large rubber plantation. However, with the high growth rate since 2005, at present, the area and output of rubber smallholder are bigger than which of rubber estate. About the rubber company, I would like to show you more detail on natural rubber and now production by following chart. In the chart, you can see in 2021, companies, including state-owned companies and private companies, accounted for 45% in area and 37% in production. Among rubber estates, state-owned enterprises are the dominant in area and production, accounting for 39% in area and 32% in production. So that's some figure on rubber companies in Vietnam. Thank you.
Okay, it's quite interesting. That means around 63% of the natural rubber production in Vietnam coming from the small holding sector as of now. Interesting. So going further deep into the grassroots of the Vietnam cement industry. So what is the average size of a small holding in Vietnam? Because Vietnam small holding is accounting 63% of the country's production. How is the average size of a small holding in Vietnam? So please give a brief profile of the smallholder farmers. My questions are smallholders fully dependent on rubber, or do they have other income sources? Are they getting any financial assistance from the governments for planting rubber? Do you have anything to share with the audience about the socio-economic profile of the smallholders in Vietnam? So, for example, what is the average size, family size? What is the average family size or average number of children per family? And what about their educational status and literacy? Do they own vehicles? Are they economically and socially progressing over years? Are new generations interested in rubber cultivation? You may please briefly answer these questions, maybe briefly answer whatever information do you have. Thank you.
Yeah, I will try to provide you some information on rubber smallholder in Vietnam. According to the survey of the General Statistics Office, there were about 265,000 smallholding rubber households, with the average size of 1.8 hectare of rubber plantation per household. About 87% of smallholders have less than 3 hectares of rubber per household, and the number of households having more than 10 hectares of rubber is small, occupied only about 1.5%. In 2020, with the support of Forest Rand, our team conducted interviews in 3 representative provinces. The results show that the rubber area accounted about 50% of the total agricultural land of smallholders. That means besides rubber cultivation, most of farmers also grow other crops such as food crops, fruit trees, forest trees, and livestock activities. Regarding the financial assistance from the government for smallholder in planting rubber, there were only about 20,000 households receiving a long-term loan with low interest rate under the project funded by the World Bank and the French development for 5 years only, from 2001 to 2005. Then in the project funded by the French Development Agency, about 19,000 households received the loan with low interest for 6 years to care their rubber plantation. There were the support from provinces for new planting of smallholders, such as land preparation, planting materials, fertilizer. But number of smallholders received this support was small. And we must say that most of smallholders in Vietnam, they grow rubber trees by their own money. Some of them ask the short-term loan of the bank, but with the commercial interest rate. Until now, regarding the profile of household, we found that majority of households have their own motorbike and handphone. So please see on the table on the screen with some more detail. So with the red color, you can see the average family size of Vietnam was 3.6 person per household. And the average family size was different according to the region. It's higher in the north and central highlands and lower in the southeast. And when you ask about new generation, I would like to say that most of new generation are not interested in rubber cultivation. If they have a small farm, they like to work in factories because the salary can be more stable and higher than income from rubber cultivation. Or they like to shift to other crops with higher benefits such as fruit trees or livestock. However, uh, our results of the survey show that if they have a big farm, for example, more than 10 hectares, rubber plantation with a high NR prices can attract them. So it's some information about the smallholders on rubber sector in Vietnam. Thank you.
So it's a very good depiction of the small holding sector's profile. And also you have highlighted some of the future challenges, especially new generations less interested, especially those having small holding size, because they have more income from manufacturing sector. This is a challenge being faced by most of the major producing countries. This will be pointing some a serious issue, also some important challenge in the long-term future of the NR production sector. So, madam, then from now we have been focusing on the production sector now. So let me ask another question. We are going a little bit into the manufacturing side. So Vietnam's roads are dominated by two-wheelers, scooters and motorcycles. So I had wondered how the two-wheeler riders are managing and cooperating with each other at busy traffic junction in Ho Chi Minh City, even without a traffic police or traffic signal lights. So the riders always care for each other and cooperate well more efficiently than in a system controlled by traffic signal lights. This is something I always wondered. So it is amazing, in fact. So Vietnam must be a big market for two-wheeler tires because roads are full with the two-wheelers. I suppose that two-wheeler tires are largely manufactured within the country. So my question is, what is Vietnam's status in manufacturing tires, automobile tires? For example, tires of passenger cars, truck and bus tires, tractors, and other off-the-road vehicles. What is the status of Vietnam in manufacturing these tires? If my understanding is correct, Vietnam lags behind in manufacturing truck and bus tires. So truck and bus tire manufacturing is crucial for the domestic value addition of the NR produced within the country. But Vietnam largely exports natural rubber rather than domestic value addition. Domestic value addition remains low in the country. My question is, what are the constraints for attracting investments in truck and bus tires? and other commercial vehicle tires. What are the key constraints? So what is the policy of the governments on promoting domestic value addition of NR? Particularly the policy on foreign investments in auto tire manufacturing. What are the opportunities and challenges for Vietnam to emerge as a hub, a global hub or a hub of rubber-based manufacturing? Could you please enlighten the audience on the manufacturing sectors, potential and challenges?
Okay, you're right. Vietnam is a big market for two-wheel tire with a purchase volume of about 2.5 to 3 million motorbikes per year. Most of motorbikes in Vietnam are domestically produced. Compared with other countries in the world, Vietnam motorbikes consumption ranks fourth after China, India, and Indonesia. Until now, motorcycles are still suitable means of transport for most Vietnamese people in the current situation of big cities. But regarding the tire sector of Vietnam, let me show you the trend of tire export value. So on the chart, we see the tire for cars share about 40% of the total export value from tires. And the export value of tire for bus and trucks strongly increased recently and share nearly 40% in 2021. Tire for car and for bus trucks are mainly developed by foreign companies such as Saloon from China, Canada, Taiwan, Kumho of Korea, Bristol, Japan, but also by domestic tire makers such as Casimina DRC. Besides of that, tire for motorcycle and bicycle share only about 5 to 6% in the total export value of tire. And other tires such as a tire for tractor or of the road vehicles contribute only 1 to 3%. On the policy of our government, we have various incentive policy for foreign investment in tire sector through tax and land use. And about the opportunities for rubber to be a hub of rubber-based manufacturing, the following factors are incentives of government to increase the domestication rate. Automobile development is expected to grow by 22% per year until 2025. Then USA, the biggest importer of Vietnam rubber product, applied the import tax for Vietnam lower than other countries. Besides of opportunity, there are challenges of rubber-based manufacturing in Vietnam. That are the price fluctuation of natural rubber and other raw materials. Vietnam still import own synthetic rubber, and market requires to shift from traditional bias ties to advanced radial ties, and there are intense competition between tire makers. So that's a factor of the challenge and opportunity of rubber manufacturing in Vietnam. Thank you.
Understood. So that means Vietnam's domestic value addition is going up, and also at the same time, Vietnam has a number of constraints. Especially Vietnam does not produce synthetic rubber, because tire manufacturing industry for foreign investors will always consider that domestic availability of synthetic rubber. So it means you have highlighted the structure of the manufacturing sector as of now, especially auto tire sector as of now, and also the opportunity for foreign investment, and also the constraints in the form of non-availability of domestic SR production. Thank you. So my next question is for the little bit deep. We are going further deep into the structure of the industry and also supply chain. So could you please share information about the supply chain of NR industry in the country? For example, the supply chain and the intermediaries involved in the case of capillum or fresh latex produced in a large plantation. So capillum and fresh latex, what is the supply chain of that? Means, I mean, you may please explain the flow from the farm until it reaches the buyer, either in a foreign country or a buyer, for example, a manufacturing units within the country. Similarly, could you please explain the flow of rubber produced in the case of a small holding? If you can present some kind of a flow chart, that will be more helpful to understand the supply chain.
Thank you. With your question about the NR supply chain in Vietnam, I would like to show you a flow chart. The NR supply chain in Vietnam consists of 5 main stages, including planting, collecting or purchasing raw material, processing natural rubber, manufacturing rubber products, and finally exporting natural rubber or rubber products and domestic use of rubber products. For the smallholders, NR supply chain includes the dealers or intermediary who purchase raw material from smallholders. The linkage between smallholders and dealers are formed based on reputation and trust. Most of purchasing are the informal agreement without legal contracts. And generally, smallholders can select dealers who offer higher prices and pay in cash with better support, such as interest-free loans, providing fertilizer, pesticide production tools, and particularly premium prices. According to our survey, about 80% of smallholders sell their rubber to dealers. The remaining smallholders they supply directly their rubber to processing factories or through their farmer groups. That's some information about supply chain in Vietnam.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. And the point is that in the case of smallholders, there are intermediaries or traders involved. So that means the supply chain in the case of smallholders is longer, but in the case of estates or larger plantation, supply chain is shorter. So that raises another important question. Compared to the FOB price, what percentage does smallholders realize at their farm gates compared to FOB price? And who are the takers of the remaining percentage? So what are the plus points, I mean advantages, and the minus points or disadvantages of the supply chain system prevailing in the country?
To explain more details, let me show you my estimates in the following table. Compared to the FOB prices, smallholders receive at their farm gate about 75%. The remaining prices are taken by dealer with transport, about 5%, processor with tax about 10%, and exporters with tax about 10%. When we compare with other countries, I think the price received by smallholders are acceptable, not too high but not too low. And between dealer and processors, there are high competition, so smallholder can have benefits to get the highest prices, particularly in a traditional region where there are many dealers and processors. However, in new or remote region, farmers have no choice when there is only one processor or dealer. In some cases, farmers can establish their groups to have more power in negotiation with dealer or processor. That's my response.
Yeah, that's quite informative, and that, in fact, I think that is helpful to get a clear understanding about the farm gate price, and also which are the takers of the gap between the farm gate price and the FOB price. Very clear. So if I am correct, daily rubber prices are not officially reported by the government or any other agency in Vietnam. This is my understanding. So what system is being followed for the dissemination, I mean publication of daily price information? Because market transparency is very important. So what is a system being followed for the daily dissemination of price information, especially among the smallholders? How can overseas buyers get the most recent prices prevailing in Vietnam?
Natural rubber is a free market commodities in Vietnam. So government does not officially announce the daily prices for natural rubber. From processor and dealer to attract and to keep long-term purchase of rubber from smallholders. They announce the daily rubber prices through their dealers by telephone messages. And on the website of the Vietnam Rubber Association, there are the links to companies which announce the daily prices of purchase for latex and coagulum. And so these prices can be used as a reference in the region. And the Vietnam Rubber Association can provide NR export prices to its member and any buyer for reference if required. So that's the system of the daily price in Vietnam.
Yeah, understood. So again, we are going back into the upstream. I had the opportunity to interact with a few women tappers in Vietnam. I mean, female tappers in Vietnam. So they were working for the people I met were working for a plantation company. They said the company pays them wages even during the wintering off season. For example, now it is off season, there is no tapping. So even during the off season, the company will pay them wages. So it means even when they are not tapping, they are not working, they are getting wages from the company. The company every month holds a certain percentage of the wages to pay the wage during the off season. Could you please share the information about the prevailing wages of tappers in Vietnam? Are they paid based on the number of trees tapped or based on the latex they get from tapping, or paid something like a fixed daily wage? Again, my question is, does Vietnam face any shortage of laborers, especially skilled tappers? Is there any shortage of laborers in Vietnam? And again, I have questions on the labor side. Do you think that shortage of skilled tappers would be a major future challenge to the country's NR production sector? Is there any progress in developing or introducing mechanized or automated tapping? Again, self-tapping or farmers doing tapping by themselves without hiring skilled tappers is getting popularized in some of the countries. The self-tapping is getting popularized. Means the farmers undertaking tapping by themselves rather than hiring a tapper. So does Vietnam depend on so is there any such a trend in Vietnam? So my question is whether the self-tapping system is getting popularized in Vietnam, similar to that pattern being seen, the recent trend seen in some of the other countries. Then does Vietnam depend on migrant tappers or other plantation workers from neighboring countries? So what is the extent of dependence on migrant tappers and other workers? So could you please explain something about the labor availability, wages, and issues with regard to labor?
Regarding your question, I would like to say that in Vietnam, the wage of tappers is based on the latex and column they get from tapping, in combination with their technical quality of tapping. Generally, companies give certain percentage of the wage to pay to tappers during the off-season. For the works like washer, tune of tappings, collect rubber scraps for cleaning tapping trees, gather fallen leaves into integrals for fire press. Currently, although there are the incentive of companies or rubber plantation owners, the shortage of skilled tappers is a big issue in the traditional rubber region, where industrial parks are attracting workers with stable income and good workplaces in factories. Many companies apply low-intensity tapping system from every 3 days to every 4 or 5 days to cover this issue, shortage of laborers. And for smallholder, most of smallholders do self-tapping without hiring skilled tappers. We also regarding the mechanized and automated tapping. It is testing in some rubber companies, but not yet applied in large scale. Currently, Vietnam does not depend on foreign migrant tappers from neighboring countries, but some companies they must recruit the tappers from other provinces. So there were the migrant workers from the north and central region to the south, and recently from the Mekong River Delta to the south region for rubber plantation.
Okay.
That's the picture of labor in rubber sector now in Vietnam.
Yeah. Okay, very good, clear. So that means tappers are being paid based on the latex they are bringing. Along with that, there's a system to monitor the quality of tapping. Very interesting. Okay. Another question is regarding some of the issues related to climate change. So last few years have seen Vietnam's rubber production and supply chain getting damaged or disrupted by recurrent typhoons, heavy rains, and flash floods. Could you please share your thoughts on the implications of climate change on Vietnam's NR production sector? Do you see loss of tapping days, damages to trees, outbreak of new plant diseases, decline in yield per tree caused by climate change? So what are the strategies such as development on popularization of climate tolerance or disease tolerant clones? So what are the strategies for mitigating the adverse effects of climate change? I know that you are basically a plant breeder, so you are well equipped to provide answer to this.
You're right. Recently, we have seen more damages caused by severe drought, typhoons, heavy rains, and floods. This extreme weather and climate change cause a loss of tapping days, damages to trees, outbreak of plant diseases, and reduction of productivity. The Rubber Research Institute of Vietnam has recognized this issue, so they focus to create a select climate tolerance or disease tolerance clones for mitigating the adverse effect of climate change and climate constraints of non-traditional regions. Now we can develop rubber trees in suboptimal regions with suitable and high-yielding clones. Besides of that, to mitigate the negative impacts of climate change, we have a cooperation project between RIV and CIRAD, a French agricultural research and international cooperation organization, to develop a package of solutions, including resilient clones, suitable tapping system, effective agroforestry models in sustainable development for rubber trees in the Southeast Asia. So that's recent activities to curb to mitigate the climate change.
Okay, understood. So Vietnam is well equipped and the clones are ready which are tolerant to the climate change issues. That's a very good. Vietnam is well prepared. So next question is regarding so something related to the new trends in the plantation sector. Vietnam is ahead of other major producing countries in formulating sustainable natural rubber or SNR guidelines, in introducing the certification system for SNR and forestry, and in promoting SNR practices and certification among rubber producers and processors. Vietnam is ahead of major other producing countries in this. So from your earlier answer and also from the video we have seen, around 70,000 hectares of rubber plantations in Vietnam have already got certified for SNR and forestry. And also based on your presentation earlier, Vietnam has a target for this year also for SNR certification and forestry certification. So could you please share the advantages of SNR or forestry certified NR in terms of market preference, market access, and premium price? This is something very important, and also the other producing countries are keenly looking for this information. So what is your message to rubber farmers around the world in this regard?
Thank you for your attention on our sustainable NR. We promote the sustainable development of Vietnam natural rubber industry based on the requirement of our government through its legal regulations. In addition, there are the pressures of markets and our customers, and particularly, we strongly want to develop our NR industry towards sustainability. Recently, we received the positive sign since last year from some customer. They agree to pay our certified NR and certified rubber wood with premium prices. It's a good sign. And until now, there are many big NR consumer and rubber wood manufacturers. They need certified raw materials. Majority of them have a commitment to use a sustainable raw material with certificates on sustainable management. But the market of sustainable NR or certified rubber wood is still small. However, our producers are proactive to implement certificates because they know, firstly, they receive the advantage in improving internal management system, increasing efficiency and responsible investment, reduce the negative impact on environment and society, and strengthen market confidence in sustainable management and traceable production. About the rubber farmers, according to experts on sustainable certification, farmers can get certificates for sustainable NR and rubber wood easier than other commodity relating forests. The advantages of rubber farmers to implement sustainable NR and rubber wood are the following factors. They have a rubber plantation with long life cycle. They have a land use certificates on agricultural land. And there are available technical guidelines towards sustainable production and high-yielding clone for latex and timber. There are existing and are processing factories in rubber region can support the group certificates between farmer and enterprises. Currently, in Vietnam, we have some private NR processing factory. They are supporting their small suppliers to implement the group certificates. This model is very potential to get certificates for sustainable NR and rubber wood from smallholders. That's some information I try to provide.
Okay. So it's very good to know that Vietnam's farmers who are selling certified natural rubber are being offered a premium price by the buyers. That's a good information, and this is actually a good, useful for other countries which are also in the process of introducing sustainable SNR certification system. So in my going again, we are further. We are going deep into Vietnam industry further. So at the introduction, I highlighted some of the key success of the Vietnam's NR industry. For example, Vietnam's NR industry is a glittering success story in terms of area expansion over the past 2 decades, production increase over the past 2 decades, improvement in average yield per hectare, disease management, and adoption of SNR and forestry guidelines, and several other aspects. So in various aspects, Vietnam's NR industry is a great success story. What are the key factors which made Vietnam a bright spot in the world NR industry? I should say Vietnam is a bright spot in the world NR industry. So what are the key factors which made Vietnam a bright spot? So which are the key organizations or agencies behind this success journey?
Thank you for good question. I would like to share with audience about the contribution of key organization to our success story in natural rubber industry. Firstly, our government issued the policies of rubber development suitable for each barrier and available condition. Recently, Vietnam's policies have responded to international economic integration and sustainable development. About the organization in the rubber sector, we have a key state-owned enterprises, Vietnam Rubber Group. They share about 30% in area and NR production in Vietnam. VRG plays important roles in leading advanced techniques for NR industry of Vietnam and keeping high yield for rubber plantation in Vietnam. The other key organization is Rubber Research Institute of Vietnam, RIV. RIV enhances the sustainability of Vietnam and our industry through R&D program and effective transfer of technology activities. RIV creates and selects elite rubber clones, recommends advanced practice for rubber cultivation and NR processing. Its activities serve not only companies but also smallholders. Recently, the Vietnam Rubber Association (VRA) was established. It enhances the trade promotion for its members who are key and exporters through the market information. VRA also have been building up an industry brand from certification mark Vietnam Rubber based on quality and prestige of members. VIA is encouraging its members towards sustainable development. About the plan of our government toward 2030, the rubber growing area is stabilized at 800,000 to 900,000 hectares, and the NR production is expected to reach about 1.3 million tons per year. And the domestic consumption is planned up to at least 30% of the NR output for producing tire, automobile, and rubber products. That's our government's master plan. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. It's a good. So, there are three key organizations which are Vietnam Rubber Group, RRIV, and also VRA, and also policies set by the government. And also, government has a long-term policy for the year. So that means, according to what you mentioned right now, government has a master plan for the period until 2030. So that means the rubber growing area is stabilized between 0.8 and 0.9 million. So rubber growing area is stabilized, and but at the same time, NR production is expected to reach 1.3 million tons per year. So the domestic consumption is planned to be up at least 30% of the going to be up, means of the total production, around 30% of the production will be domestically absorbed. So this is what I understood. That means Vietnam has a long-term plan, and at the same time, there is no scope for area expansion. Okay, let me ask something further on that. What are the long-term challenges in the way forward? Long-term challenges, and the government has a long-term plan, but what are the long-term challenges, and also what are the strategies for managing those challenges?
I think the long-term challenges of Vietnam natural rubber industry would be the volatility of prices caused by unpredictable supply and demand. Even there are many efforts to forecast this matter. The NR demand and supply are affected by numerous factors. So you are the expert on NR market analysis. So I would like to ask the audience to follow your weekly webinars. To cope with these challenges, we try to update the market information and study NR demand and relating factors. We would like to cooperate with other NR producing countries to monitor the area and production to focus the NR supply. I think the transparent statistics data need to be urgently implemented to avoid the surplus or deficits in long term. In addition, the economic agroforestry models, including rubber trees, should be promoted to diversify incomes of rubber growers in a volatile market and to contribute to climate action. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you, madam, and for the insights given. And we have almost 1 hour we are discussing, and I have now a final question. So we have here an audience from different countries. As one of the key researchers of the Vietnam's NR industry, having diverse experience by occupying important positions in the RRIV, means the Rubber Research Institute of Vietnam, Vietnam Rubber Association, and Vietnam Rubber Group. What is your message to the global rubber community, particularly the smallholders and processors? What is your final message?
I would like to share that I believe the rubber trees will have a bright future based on two main commodities, natural rubber and rubber wood, with additional products from intercropping or associated crops for food security and also for income diversification of growers. I also believe that the role of rubber trees would be increased and rubber plantations can assist in solving the economic, environmental, and social issues in the journey towards sustainable agriculture and responsible forest management. That's my idea about the future of natural rubber industry.
Okay. Thank you for your final message. So in fact, actually, we had a very good discussion during the past 1 hour on the spotlighting the Vietnam NR industry. We have discussed the the key issues as well as the present structure, government policies, challenges, everything about the in our production sector, in our consumption sector, supply chain of farm gate price. So that means that we have looked into the various aspects of the NR industry in the country and identified some of the key issues. We also noticed that there are opportunities for overseas for foreign investments, especially in the manufacturing sector. So we have a very good discussion, informative discussion, insightful discussion for the past 1 year. So I thank you, madam, for giving or maybe giving such a vast information and sharing insights about the NR industry in Vietnam based on your, I think you have nearly 43 years of experience in the rubber industry in Vietnam. So based on your long years of experience and also your experience in different organizations at different capacities, you gave a very good information about the Vietnam industry. And we know that you have more information with you, but we have to limit the time, limit the discussion because of the time. Maybe we'll see again for more discussion. So I thank you, the audience, and also thank you, madam, for this opportunity, for this information. And I thank the audience, and also I thank the Technobiz for organizing this NR dialogue through this virtual platform. So, madam, would you like to say anything to the audience?
Yes, thank you. I would like to thank Technobiz and Mr. Jacob for giving me a great opportunity to share our information on the Vietnam natural rubber industry. And also I can share my idea on the future of NR industry. I sincerely thank the audience for watching our video and listening our dialogue. I wish all of you good health and safety. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam, on behalf of the Technobiz and also on behalf of the audience. So we have come to the end of the program, and we have the third episode number 3 of NR Dialogue on 24th of March, and the episode number 3 will be spotlighting NR industry in Latin America. So in Latin America, there are 3 important producing countries: Brazil, Guatemala, Mexico, and Colombia. So we have 3 experts, not a single guest. We have 3 guests because we have a group of countries and there are so many issues to be discussed. So that means we'll be getting more information about a country about which we don't have much information, information about the region about which we don't have much information. And we are getting insights from 3 experts as our panelists. One is Mr. Jogo Esperande. He is Executive Director of the APABO. APABO stands for the Association of Rubber Producers and Processors in Brazil, São Paulo. And we have Maria Pina, who is the president of the Latin American Rubber Association. And also we have Mr. Casio, who is a technical director of Plantec. It's a technical body working under APABO, Brazil based. So we will see on 24th of March 2022. The time is different because we are not for now. Not time will be different. So on 24th of March, episode number 3 will be at 9:30 p.m. Singapore time, 7 p.m. Indian time, and 10:30 a.m. Brazil time. So time is different from the usual pattern because we have to accommodate the different time zones. So we will see again for episode number 3 of NR Dialogue on March 24, 9:30 p.m. Singapore time zone, 7 p.m. India time zone, and 10:30 a.m. Brazil time zone. Thank you.